Welcome everyone to the Talent Factory 5 Leopard Championship. The event has the following format: 8 races consisting of 5 laps with a one-shot qualifying session will be held tonight. For every race, the standard points amount will be handed out to the 10 drivers that finish in the top 10. So that means 25, 18, all the way down to 2 and 1 point for the driver that finishes in P10. And the driver that finishes first after the 8 races held tonight will receive a €20 PSN card. And with 6 seconds, we will start our first one-shot qualifying. And remember, the driving standards in this lobby will be like none you've seen before from TF, because we have assembled some of the greatest drivers from PlayStation to race it out here tonight. We are on board with the Williams of Ash Best. Let's stay on board with Ash Best for this lap. Braking now around 75 meters for the hairpin here of turn 3, accelerating out of that hairpin. He is in 12th position at the moment, opening the DRS, the big letterbox at the back end of the Williams car. George Nader is currently on provisional pole with Bolin right behind him. City Guy is in P3 with Joey in P4. Ash Best is still in P12, making his way through this middle sector. His middle sector 44.791 at the sector timing, and he's round. He is out of one-shot qualifying. He's not even in last position because other drivers probably have had problems in this session. Rohan has invalidated his lap, so is in P16. George Nader takes provisional pole, takes now pole position with a 103.461. Bolin close behind, 103.522, and Moat Stroll is in third position, 103.565, and that is your top 3. With the one-shot qualifying sessions, the grid order will be determined very fast, and it doesn't take very long for that to happen. So the top 3, we have run through that top 3. Davey in 4th position, 2 attempts down from pole. Then it's Joey in P5, Axe in P6, very fast driver, Axe the Frenchman. P7 for Deso, P8 for Frankie, PSGL F2 driver, ET8, Laurie in P9, and P10 his fellow Italian driver from TF10. And then the grid from there on down, all starting outside of the top 10. No rules concerning the starting tires, like in real life Formula 1 2021, because of the fact that this is a 5-lapper. Drivers have a free choice of tire for the race, no matter what your starting position is. So you might start in pole position, you qualified on the softs, and that still leaves you with a free choice of tire. Leo in the Discord asking if we can get rid of Park Ferme, and that is not without any reason. He forgot to use a setup for qualifying, which means he'll drive around without a setup. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on for the first 5-lapper of tonight. It's lights out and away we go. The Ferrari gets a good start, but the Red Bull gets a good start as well. The Ferrari on the inside. Can he get into the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix? Yes, he can. He cuts the corner on the inside, but the Ferrari of Bolin is in the lead. George in 2nd position. The McLaren under pressure from Joey behind. Joey, can he get the move on the McLaren, but is under pressure himself from the Red Bull. The Red Bull of George wanted to make a move down the inside of the Ferrari, but he couldn't. It's 3 wide on the main straight down towards turn 4. It's the McLaren of Moat Stroll who has been overtaken by Joey going into turn 5. And now Joey into P3, Stroll in P4. They are battling it out for the final points being for the final podium position. The McLaren on the inside has taken that podium position. For now, it's still Bolin in the lead, George in 2nd, Moat Stroll in P3, Joey in P5. Davey lost the position at the start, is in P5. Frankie behind Davy in the Red Bull. Then it's Ismax in P7, P8 for Laurie, and it's yellow flag in sector 3. Let's turn on the full track map. Looks like a Haas, who is retiring now in the pits of Leo. What is happening between Deso and Laurie? They are ghosting through one another. Leo has retired in the pit lane. The TF10 man is out of the Grand Prix. Frankie and Ismax are battling it out. The Williams on the inside wanted to make a move on Frankie, but couldn't make it work. The McLaren and the Alpine are also side by side. And down towards turn 5. Can the McLaren hold on to P8? Yes, he can. He's still in P8. The final points being positioned for now is for Ashbest in P10. Rohan and Mika are also battling. Rohan now in P13. Deso and Laurie were still battling, but I think Deso made a mistake somewhere because he's now a bit behind the Alpine driver. Sector 2 and 3 yellow flag. That is because of Dutch Missile making a mistake in that sector. And he is firmly at the back of the pack. Bolin says the fastest lap of the race, instantly beaten by George and then by Mode Stroll in the McLaren, indicates that they have the pace to make a move. Oh, George makes a mistake. The McLaren of Mode Stroll moves up into P2 and he is now in front of George. Can he now go for the move on Bolin? He's within DRS range of Bolin, so he might be able to get the move on the Ferrari. 7.5 tenths now the gap. And that will be shrinking on this straight due to the DRS that the McLaren can use on that straight down towards turn 5. Bolin still in the lead though. Silly guy making up places. He has made the move on Ashbest on the run down towards turn 5 and is now in the final points paying position. Bolin controlling the race nicely. Let's look at the battle between Frankie and Davy. Davy has been overtaken by Frankie in the Red Bull, and Ismax is looking behind to overtake Davy as well. Davy struggling, it seems, in this 5-lapper. Bolin says the fastest lap, and now instantly beaten by Mode Stroll. He's on the move on. Can he make a move on Bolin? He still has that DRS and can now make up some time on the Ferrari. The amount of ERS that the McLaren has is around 30%. What does Bolin have? Bolin is around 20-30% of ERS. So he will struggle to keep that McLaren behind him in that final lap. Fruitful has a 3-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's surely out of contention for any points, and he is retired in that pit lane in the Ferrari. George, nicely seen from the onboard of Joey, is now arrived at the back of Mode Stroll. He would want to get that second position back at least. He came for pole position, fell down 2 positions. Now gets a track limit for good measure. Can he make the move on the McLaren? Yellow flag sector 1. That is because of the Ferrari of Fruitful back out onto the track. But Bolin is looking strong for his first victory. And for the first victory here in the 5-lapper event. But Mode Stroll is on the rear of the Ferrari. Can he get the move on Bolin? He has the DRS to use. He has a bit of ERS to push as well, but he's waiting to make the move down towards turn 3 to make the move down towards turn 4. He stays behind the Ferrari. George didn't make the move, but can Stroll now make the move on the Ferrari? He is down on power. Now Mode Stroll into the lead of the race. Bolin has been overtaken by Stroll on that final lap, that all-important final lap. Bolin was controlling the race very nicely, but now has been overtaken by the McLaren and moves himself into the lead of the race. Can possibly Bolin make a move in this final sector? I don't think he can. Silly guy gets a 2-second time penalty for multiple warnings. By corner cutting the track, but Stroll gets that first victory here tonight, and he wins in Austria the first 5-lapper of the evening. He gets the fastest lap as well, with some time penalties in the end. Bolin gets second, George from pole gets third, Joey 4th position, Frankie in 5th, Max MX gets that move on Davy and moves himself up in P6. P7 is for Davy himself. Laurie in P8, Deso P9, and Rohan P10. Recently announced as a Talent Factory driver and is finding his way back into the esports scene, gets the driver of the day. He, of course, in the qualifying session invalidated his lap and has now scored a single point, which might be very important in the end. Stroll gets that win in the McLaren. It was all important for that final lap to stay behind Bolen, it seems, and then make the move on the final opportunity that he could. If he would have made that move one lap earlier, Bolen might have been able to get back at Stroll. But Stroll timed that perfectly. He wins in Austria with the fastest lap as well. I think around 2/10 faster than any driver. The next fastest lap is from the man in P6, is Max. Bolen in P2, George in P3, your top 3. Not scoring points, Mika Akse fell down from P6. What happened to him? Might have been involved in an incident right at the start. Silly Guy in P3, P4 is for Anno, P5 for Ashbest, and now we are loading into our second race, and that is at Britain. And if you are listening, as a driver, don't forget to save your clips for any incident whatsoever to send in to the stewards. We are almost ready for our second race. Once again a one-shot qualifying, and then lights will be out for another 5-lapper. 26 points for Mode Stroll with that fastest lap as well. So he's currently in the lead for the 20 euro PSN card. Anno saying this is pure chaos in the Discord. Yeah, well, all drivers around you are very fast and want to make up as much positions as possible right from the start. And that is what we are witnessing here tonight. Let's go on board with the championship leader for now, Mode Stroll. When we get underway here in Silverstone. 27 seconds for the drivers to pick their setup to get rid of a bit of fuel for the one-shot qualifying around the Silverstone track. Who do you think is going to win this 5-lapper event in the end? Put it in the comments. Who do you think will emerge victorious? As we got underway here in Silverstone, Mode Stroll is in P17 at the moment, but that is a first indication, not taking into consideration any corner whatsoever. This first braking zone will determine the positions initially. And there we can see Mode Stroll being in P3 right from the get-go, but falling down a bit after accelerating out of turn 3. Now in P9. Still a long way to go until the checkered flag. Bolen leads initially with Silly Guy in second position, Mika in third, but that shifts all the time as Mode Stroll has invalidated his lap. So let's go on board with Bolen. Bolen faster still, but battling it out with George. George now in P2, still the Ferrari and the Red Bull from the last race in Austria, battling for pole. Still, can George make it 2 out of 2 here? He then has to beat Bolen. Falls a bit down through the initial part of Maggots and Beckers, but can he make his move way up the grid? Mika is now on provisional pole after the second sector. Let's go on board with the Mercedes. Nicely hitting the apex and not invalidating his lap time. Bolen is right behind him in the Ferrari. What can Mika do through this final section here at Silverstone? Oh, can he make it a pole position for it? No, Bolen gets it. Bolen gets it right at the cusp. Right before the checkered flag. It was 15 thousandths of a second in the end. Bolen gets pole with Mika in P2, George in P3, City Guy in P4, and Davey in P5. Yard top 5 from one-shot qualifying here at Silverstone. That was very close between the top two drivers. 15 thousandths of a second in it. in the end, well, and we've covered the top 5. Ono is in 6th position. Axe, once again, good position from him, P7. But hopefully for him, his race will be better than last time out in Austria. Frankie in P8, P9 is for Leo, and P10 is for Joey. Behind them, it's Deso, Ismax, Dutch Missile, Fruitful, Ashbes, Steph, and Mode Stroll, Laurie, Rohan in the bottom position. Rohan once again scoring points will be even harder this time round. Bolin for the win, says Lars in the comment section down below. We have an overcast track here at Silverstone. Don't think it's going to rain though. And if it will rain, it's only for about 5 laps. Remember, the weather is on random. So any condition might occur during any race weekend. We'll get underway in 2 seconds time. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on now. Lights are out and it's a good start for Bolin, but can Mika get the lead of the Grand Prix right from the start? No, he can't. He settles in behind the Ferrari. It's Bolin in first, Mika in second, George in third, with Silly Guy right on the back of George. Davey still in P5, battling it out with the Aston Martin of Axe. Axe making up a position right from the get-go and stays in front of the Alpine and the Red Bull. That was pretty close, so had to watch for a move happening there. Axe has to defend, still in 6th position, but Ono real close behind him. Can he make a move on Axe? No, he can't. He goes a bit wide. Can't make the move on Axe. And once again, this is a track where it is important to have enough ERS at the end of the race to defend from first position, or as Ono goes wide, or make a move from second position on the final lap to take the lead of the race. Now, looking at Mika, can he get a good run on Bolin? He is behind Bolin. He is pushing a bit of ERS. Can't make the move on Bolin, and they remain within a train. Ono, though, side by side with the Aston Martin of Axe. Axe keeps hold of 6th position, but now Ono on the inside. Axe has to concede, but he's still right around the outside. Can he stick onto 6th position? Great battling between Ono and the Aston Martin. Only in the Alpine now makes the move for P6 and has it in the bag. Ono in P6, but can Axe get back in him? Axe does not make the dive bomb and is now in P7, but there's a bit of battling going on in the front. Mika and Bolin really close to one another, and even closer. Silly Guy between George. It's only a 1/10 of a second. Silly Guy moves to the left hand side to fake the move. Silly Guy leaving a lot of space around down the inside. Can he get a good move? Good run on George? No, he can't. Now going into Cops. Don't think anyone will make a move around there. Frankie also looking for a move on Axe. Axe really strong in the qualifying sessions, but can he keep hold of 7th position during this race? Yellow sector 2, what has happened there? I think it's Ashbest who is now at the back. He spun at Cops. And Ismax also in P18. Now Leo tries to go around the outside of the Red Bull. Can he move his way around the outside of Frankie? No, he can't. He sticks behind. Mode Stroll gets a time penalty, as does Fruitful. 2 seconds for both of them. Now Silly Guy 2 attempts behind George. Yellow sector 3. Oh, and is Rohan. Rohan made a mistake. He has crashed and is out of the race. Now with the DRS being enabled, you can just see Silly Guy trying to line up a move here on George. He has the perfect run to go for a move on the Red Bull, but the distance is just a bit too big. Mika now fakes the move to the left hand side on Bolin, but has to stick behind the Ferrari for now. And Bolin just making a train here. pushing these drivers all into each other by going a bit slowly through that previous section there. Pops almost flat out in the race for most drivers. Depending on your setup, might be full throttle. George going a bit wide. Can he get a good run out of Chapel? He can, but can Mika get an even better run on Bolin out of Chapel? Can he make the move? He won't make the move. And this is exactly what we spoke about before. Mika wants to make that move on the final lap when Bolin has no chance whatsoever to get back at Mika. Well, that is what Mika is thinking in his head. But will it turn out that way? Few drivers with time penalties. Deso really close to Steph and Joey. Joey is defending from Steph. Can Steph go for the move? Down the inside he goes. Can't make the move still. Oh, that is a bit of a weird move. I think that is because of the Alpine and a bit desyncing with the McLaren. Let's go back to Silly Guy. Silly Guy won't make the move, and things will go loose in just a few moments time. Still overcast conditions here at Silverstone. Mika going wide, Bolin going wide, George sticking to the inside and covering off Silly Guy in the Alfa Romeo. Down towards Cups we go. Oh, George gets a bad run. George gets a very bad run. Can the Alfa Romeo go down the inside? No, he can't. He has to stick behind. George, like previous laps, has found it difficult to get a run on Mika out of Chapel. Now Mika has made the move for the lead of the race. George wanted to go down the outside, and he did, and it made Bolin spin. The little bit of contact between George and Bolin made Bolin spin, and he's now at the back of the field. Mika is in the lead of the race. George is in second position, under pressure from Silly Guy behind, and Bolin is out of contention for the victory. He has retired in the pit lane. Now Silly Guy, can he make a move on the Red Bull driver? Mika has to defend on this final lap with the amount of ERS that he has left. Does he have enough ERS left to defend with coming out of Chapel onto the hangar straight? ERT Silly Guy is gaining on the Red Bull, but still sticks behind for now. He wants to make the move coming out of Chapel on the hangar straight. Mika will do anything about it to keep both drivers behind him. Axel 1.3 behind Davey, has kept Frankie behind him for now, but is going to find it difficult to keep the Red Bull behind after Chapel and on the hangar straight. How much ERS does Axel have? As much as Frankie, approximately around 10%. Now let's go for the lead of the race. Silly Guy is pushing. George is pushing. George wants to make that move on Mika. Mika is defending, is not defending. Can George move his way around the outside? No, he can't. Mika looks like he's going for the victory here at Silverstone. No, the George wanted to go down the inside. There's a little bit of contact. Mika has fallen down the other and has spun. And it is George who takes victory for now on the road. But Davey takes P2. Silly Guy in P3. And I have a feeling that Davey is going to win out on that one after the stewards have looked at that move from George. It looked like George went for a move, then made contact with Mika, and that moment of contact made Mika spin right at the end of the race. And it means George gets the victory on track. Davey gets second position. And what a final lap. We expected a move to happen at that final lap. It did. And it did not pay off for all drivers, really. With Mika losing out massively. And the lap before, Bolin losing out to George as well. George making contact with two drivers there. Certainly a moment for the stewards to look at. But George takes victory on the road. Davey in P2, Silly Guy in P3. Your top three. Then it's Frankie, Axe, Leo, Lori, Deso, Dutch Missile, and then Mika in P10. Behind them, it's Fruitful, who was in the top 10. He was in 9th position, I think, but got a 2-second time penalty. Same can be said for the driver behind him. Didn't notice who that was. George is currently leading the championship with 40 points. These are all provisional results. Remember, things might still change after the stewards have looked at every situation. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. With 25 seconds left before the start of the next race, and that next race will be around Bahrain. For the Bahrain Grand Prix, once again a one-shot qualifying session and then 5 laps of racing around the Bahrain International Circuit, waiting for George and Joey to ready up. And that is not necessary anymore because we've already started here for the one-shot qualifying session. I think Ono did very well in that last race, but made contact with the spinning Bolin, and that's unfortunately for him caused him to get damage and fall down the order. And now Bolin is looking for his first victory. He was in contention of 2 victories already. I think Bolin has a very high chance of getting a good result here and needs to get it together for the victory. Let's go on board with, let's see, where is Bolin? So let's go on board with Bolin in the Ferrari. We should be able to get a good result here as well. Coming out of turn 3, it is P3 for the Ferrari driver. George in the lead, Dutch Missile in P2. Really nice track to drive for a lot of drivers. And one of those tracks that a lot of championships start with and a lot of championships use in their calendar. A lot of esports teams use the Bahrain circuit. Bolin still in P3, Dutch Missile now leading the way, and that is immediately being replaced by Mika coming out of turn 10. Bolin in P3. For now, opening the DRS down towards turn 11, where Carlos Sainz made the move on Max Verstappen in the real-life Grand Prix almost 1 week ago already, where Ferrari scored their first 1-2 in a long time. Last time out was Singapore 2019. Vettel took P1 and where Leclerc took P2 after the pit stop phase. And now I think Mika is going to take pole position here. Mika on the road in his Mercedes takes pole position for the Bahrain 5 Leopard Grand Prix. And a lot of drivers have been disqualified from this session or have retired from this qualifying session, probably because they have invalidated their runs. Only 12 drivers have set lap time. Oh wow, Ismax actually sets the fastest lap in qualifying, missed out on that one. Well, I think that is a bug in the game, not displaying his time. But it is legit. Max is on P1, then P2 for Mika, P3 for Ono, Leo in P4, Bolin in P5, Deso P6, P7 for Lori, Joey in P8, P9 for Dutch Missile, Siligai in P10. Our championship leader all the way down in P18. Made a mistake somewhere, had been disqualified from the session probably, and is down in P18. Looking difficult for him to score some points, but he is a fast driver. But it doesn't look like he's extending his championship lead as it stands. We are waiting 20 seconds for the drivers to select their setups for the start of the 5-lap Bahrain Grand Prix around the Bahrain International Circuit. Silly guy has set in the discard. Turns out setups are needed at Bahrain. He also forgot to use his setup. For 5 lights on now for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it's a good start for Max, but a good start for the Mercedes of Mika as well. I think Mika is going to take the lead here. Is going to take the lead. Down towards turn 1 he goes, and he is in the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Can Ismax stick it around the outside? Yes, he can. He takes the lead back, but Mika gets a good run out of turn 3. They are side by side going down towards turn 4. Who takes the lead of the Grand Prix? Mika on the inside takes the lead for now. He's in the lead of the Grand Prix with Bolin already up in P4. Behind him in the Haas, Leo is overtaken by Joey side by side through that S section. Great racing between these drivers. The AlphaTauri down the inside has overtaken Leo for P4 in the race. Leo in P5, Ono in P6. Oh, almost. Leo in the Haas made contact with the AlphaTauri, braking a little bit too late. Breaks the Policynery block and gets back onto the track. And it is still Mika in the lead from Ismax, from Bolin, from Joey, from Ono. Dutch Missile. Good outing from him in P6. It's P7 for Leo, P8 for Desso, P9 for Frankie, P10 for Laurie. Silly guy without a setup, still sticking it on P11. Rohan has retired. No points for him still. He scored a point in the first race in Austria, but now hasn't gotten a point since. Laurie is close behind Frankie, but Silly Guy is even closer to Laurie. Can he get the move on Laurie? Laurie is pushing a little bit of ERS, is going into turn 1 in P10, but now is coming out of turn 1, still in P10, but with Silly Guy on the rear and now in front. Silly guy in P10. Frankie losing the rear a little bit there. Davey battling it out with Ash Bass. What has happened to Davey? Probably fell down in that race. Fruitful going for a move on Axe. Can he make a move on Axe? No, he can't. Oh, Davey, what is he doing? Making very sudden moves on the straights. We are on lap 2 of 5. George. Oh, George and Fruitful. What is happening between George and Fruitful? Fruitful has retired from the race after contact with George. A very weird moment between those drivers. Mix the microphone for a few moments during a few races because of some coughs that I'm having. But it is still Frankie in P9 looking for a move on the McLaren. Still not DRS activated. Now it has in lap 3. And Davey trying to make a move on Ashbest. Davey has made the move on Ashbest. Is now in P30. Ismax has the DRS on Mika. Leo on Dutch Missile. Dutch Missile has run out of ERS, it seems. Frankie really close behind the McLaren of Desso. Can he make a move somewhere on that McLaren? Desso going wide. Can Frankie stick it down the inside? Yes, he can. Wow, what a late move by the Red Bull driver. He's still side by side with the McLaren. Now the McLaren down the inside is now still in front of Frankie, but Frankie in P8, they are side by side going down towards turn 11. No ERS from the McLaren, but he stays in front of the Red Bull. Can Frankie now switch back? Yes, he can. Great move by Frankie in the Red Bull. What an awesome overtake from Frankie. And he moves his way past Desso. Silly guy in P10. Maybe the Parfumé rules have been turned off and Silly Guy has selected a setup for this race. He's in P9, overtaken Desso on that final straight. Leo looking for a move on Dutch Missile, while Ismax has made the move stick on Mika. Mika is now pushing a little bit of his DRS. He's using the DRS. Can he make a move down towards turn 4? I think this is the preferable position to be in. P2 coming into that final lap of the race. Coming into that final lap of the race, it is important that you have enough ERS in P1 to defend with, but still, that leaves you pretty vulnerable to any driver behind with the DRS and with enough ERS. Silly Guy now going for a move on Frankie. Wow, down the inside of turn 10. Great move. Frankie once again going off at that turn. How many times have we seen the Red Bull of Frankie off track at that part of the circuit? Silly Guy finding his way up the grid is now in P8. Can he make his way past Dutch Missile as well? Dutch Missile does not have the DRS and is struggling in P7, it seems. And both drivers not having ERS to use. And also Frankie not having any ERS to use. That will probably leave Silly Guy in the most preferable position, making a double overtake. Wow! Mika also made the move stick for P1. Can now Ismax make a move for P1 now once again, using his ERS, using the DRS? Can he move his way up into the inside? No, he can't. He has to stick behind Mika for now. And this is the final lap of the Grand Prix, and this is exactly what we told about. It's exactly what we told about in Silverstone. It is important that you have enough ERS to defend with, and Ismax did certainly not have that ERS to defend with, as there are yellow flags. It is because of Dutch Missile. Dutch Missile down in P16 has retired now on the track and is out of the Grand Prix. Now Ismax, can he make his move away around the outside? No, he goes for the inside on Mika. Great move by Ismax. Still Mika around the outside. Bolin is now in P2. He's on the inside, 3 wide, coming through into turn 14. Oh, and there's contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, but still it is Bolin who's now in P2. Oh, can he make his way past Ismax as well? Can he use that little bit of ERS that he still has left to make his way past Ismax? No, he can't. Great move by Bolin, and Mika losing out, and great move by Ismax, who wins here in Bahrain from Bolin, from Mika. Your top 3, that is Joey, Ono, Leo in P6, P7 for Frankie, P8 is for Silly Guy, P9 is for Laurie, and P10 is for Deso. What a finish for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And a great move from Ismax, finding his way down the inside of Mika. Mika looked like he had it covered, but suddenly Ismax went from the outside to the inside line, and that made the move stick. And he wins here in Bahrain. And Bolin on the podium, scoring good points, still hasn't gotten that win. Well, your top 3, we've covered them. Joey in P4, P5 is for Ono, P6 for Leo, P7 Frankie, then Silly Guy, Laurie, Deso. Outside of the points paying position, Steph, Davey, Ash Bess, and George, who got the fastest lap, but does not get the point for fastest lap because of finishing outside of that top 10. Then it's Axe from Dutch Missile. Then it's Fruitful P17 with a DNF because of contact with George. Really weird moment between those drivers. And then in final point, the final position, it is Rohan. And I'm back in just 1 minute to get a little bit of a drink, and we will start the next 5-lapper here around Brazil in just a few moments time. And we are back for the next 5-lapper here at Brazil, at Interlagos, between the two lakes. Oh, well, between the lakes it actually means, but the track is situated between two lakes, and that is because that is why Interlagos is called the way it is. It translates to between the lakes. Well, 2-1, and we are going underway for the one-shot qualifying here around Brazil. On board with Ismax in his Williams car. He won in Bahrain the previous race. Now, can he get a good result here in the one-shot qualifying at Interlagos as well? Let's turn on the telemetry and lap data. Braking for turn 4. It is currently in P5. Silly Guy in P1. P2 is George. Battling it out with Mika in this one-shot qualifying session. And also Ismax nicely in it. He's in P5 momentarily. Still, things can change in the final few corners of the track. Silly Guy is in provisional pole position. 50.277 for Ismax after that second sector. He's in P5. I don't think anything will change unless Ismax has less wings than Joey in front, but I don't think he has. Joey, though, makes his way up into P5, and Ismax is actually on the front row. Silly Guy absolutely dominated that qualifying session. 106.6 in the end. The lap timing wasn't all correct throughout that session, but it is still Silly Guy on top. What a good lap time from Silly Guy. 106.610. 2 tenths, almost exactly down from Silly Guy is Ismax, our previous race winner. Then it's Bolin in the Ferrari. George behind him. Those two drivers have something to say to one another. Then it's Joey, Desso, Laurie, Leo, Rowan in P9 and P10 is Steph. Just outside of the top 10 is Fruitful, Anno, Dutch Missile, Ash Best, Mika, Davey, Frankie and Axe. Axe, Frankie and Davey haven't set a lap time. Not even a slow lap time like the driver in P17. Couldn't see exactly who that was, but he was 7 seconds off the pace. But at least set a lap time, so he has qualified. And it is raining. It's our first race in the rain here at Interlagos. The 5-lapper championship challenges all drivers with all different kinds of conditions, and these conditions look like heavy rain conditions. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we will see the blue walled tires here today, the extremes, for the 5-lapper Grand Prix. There's all drivers with the wet tire. And the lights are out. It's a good start for the Alfa Romeo. I don't think the Williams is getting into the lead of the race. No, he is not, but he now makes his way down the inside. Still the Alfa Romeo in the lead of the race. He leaves space for the Williams, now turns into the inside, and this is a battle down to our Jung Sao for the lead of the race. Silly Guy side by side with Ismax down towards turn 4, and still Silly Guy in the lead of the race. Bolin nicely settles into P3. Desso is battling with a few drivers. The Haas and the Alpine have spun. I think those drivers were Leo. It looked like a Haas. And it should have been Leo then who was involved in that incident. Yellow sector 2. As Dutch Missile has retired on the track, Anno was involved in that incident as well. Fruitful down in P16, 1.6 seconds now. Rowan behind Access. Frankie made the mistake on track in the Red Bull, now in last position. Joey on the rear of Bolin. Can he make a move on the Ferrari? No, he can't. As of yet, he is pushing a little bit of ERS. Dangerous to do here. In the heavy wet conditions and on a banked corner like the final straight here at Brazil. might mean that you spin if you push too much ERS, if you accelerate too much in these wet conditions, if you don't have enough car control. But Joey has it and keeps it on the track. George in 5th position behind Joey. Hasn't scored any points whatsoever during that race in Bahrain. Still on 40 points. Couldn't see who was leading the championship, but we will see who's leading the championship in just a few moments time when the race at Interlagos is done and dusted. Silly Guy looks like he's on a roll. He is 9 tenths in front of Ismax. Now even 1 second in front. Once again, yellow flags. Davey is up into P10, battling it out with Leo in the Haas. Can he go down the inside here? Yes, he can. Leo nicely leaves him the space. Can he now cut back Leo? Leo, can he go around the outside as well? Don't think he can. Oh, he keeps it nicely around the outside. Almost lost his Haas. Oh, makes contact with Davey, and he is off. Leo is off onto the grass. Now back onto the track, but Leo is down in last position here. Silly Guy sets the fast lap of the race, instantly beaten by Ismax in P2, 6 tenths behind Silly Guy, sorry. Almost the same. Bolin in P3, then it's Joey in P4, P5 still George. And the top 5 hasn't changed for the last 2 laps. Still the same. Yellow sector 1, that is because of the Haas of Leo, who has spun in the Senna S. Steph is finding it difficult to keep up with Deso, but the driver behind him, Laurie, is finding it difficult to keep up with Steph. Davey behind Laurie, and I think Ashbess and Roland were battling, but it looks like Ashbess has some damage because he is losing a lot of time. No, it looked like he was losing a lot of time, and he's still losing a lot of time. Might be that he is finding it difficult to keep his Williams on the track, but he is finding it difficult to turn in his Williams. Doesn't appear to have damage, but it might be invisible damage that he has on his Williams car. Fruitful is gaining on him. Joey now sets a fast lap of the race, really close behind Bolin. It is difficult to overtake in these wet conditions, so you have to take advantage of any mistake your opponent makes. And so far the top 5 have been pretty faultless. And Silly Guy is driving towards the checkered flag in first position. Bolin going a bit wide there. Nothing too special. Still in 3rd position and keeping hold of that final podium position. Joey is looking pretty pacey here. Can't make a move. Drivers, of course, not having that DRS to use. And that certainly doesn't help in making more overtakes. Good run out of the final real corner for Joey. Can he now stick it down here inside the turn 1 of Bolin? I don't think he can, because he's now 4.5 tenths, or 5 tenths even, behind the Ferrari. Ismax sets the fast lap of the race, beaten by Bolin in P3, and we enter the final lap of the race. Ferrari of Bolin going a bit wide in towards turn 1. Thus that giving encouragement to Joey to go for the move down the inside of the Ferrari. Stick behind him for now. Still fastest first sector though for Joey, and he is putting the pressure on the Ferrari. So let's go off board with the Ferrari and see if he can keep hold of that final podium position. Doesn't look like Joey has the overspeed to make a move on the Ferrari in this infield section of the track, and has to stick behind, has to await a mistake from the Ferrari, and doesn't look like that is going to happen anytime soon. Let's go on board with Silly Guy. He sets the fastest middle sector of anyone in this race, and looks like he's going to take the victory here in Interlagos. Let's go on board with the Alfa Romeo. It is Silly Guy who took pole position, fended off Ismax at the start of the race, and finishes in P1 with the fastest lap as well. It's 1:16.941, 26 points for Silly Guy, puts him right in the mix for the championship. Ismax in P2, strong points for him as well. Scored 40 points, I think, with that fastest lap in Bahrain as well, in the last 2 races. So puts him right up there in the championship. And let's see who's leading the championship so far. A Silly Guy wins here. Ismax in P2, Bolin once again a podium in P3, and it's Joey in P4, George in P5, P6 for Deso, P7 for Steph, P8 for Laurie, P9 Davey and his Talent Factory teammate, P10 for Mika. Axa in P11, coming from P18, good recovery from him. Roam in P12, then it's Ashbest, Fruitful, TF10, Leo, Ono, Frankie, Dutch Missile. And the bottom 5 have retired all. Let's look at the standings, and it's tight at the top of the championship between Ismax and Bolin. Bolin hasn't won a race, but scoring consistent podiums puts him up there. Then it's George, 1 point down from that duo in the lead, and 6 points behind those 3 drivers is Silly Guy with his win here around Brazil. Joey, being up there all the time as well, is in 5th position. Anything can change in these final few races in a TF5 Leopard Championship. Next race is Portugal. And at the Algarve circuit, elevation change is the most spectacular thing that you'll see going on board with the Formula 1 car there. Really a shame that we are not returning there this year. The races in 2020 and 2021 have been somewhat disappointing for a lot of viewers, but it is an amazing track to watch. We're getting ready here for the one-shot qualifying session. They have 30 seconds in just a few moments to select their setups, as we talked about before. We are seeing the garages now, but the drivers were still loading into the race. Now they can apply their setups to their cars. And we have 10 more seconds to go before we move on into this Grand Prix, at least into the one-shot qualifying. On board with the driver that won the Grand Prix at Interlagos, Silly Guy. He won down at Interlagos. Can he now win at Portimao as well? He's in the lead after the initial few corners. And a great run in that first sector lets him stay in that lead. For now, 21.688 for the first sector. Good lap time from a one-shot qualifying. Now it's up and down, side by side, like a roller coaster, like Lando Norris once told on the radio before. That was not in Portimao though that he said it. That was at COTA 2019. Silly Guy still in the lead. Davey in second position. Frankie in P3, battling it out with Xmax and Bolin. Bolin once again being consistent up there in P3. For now, Silly Guy has it all under control, I think. Can he take that pole position for the Portuguese Grand Prix in the 5 lappers of the TF Championship? TF 5 lapper Championship. Silly Guy opens the DRS in just a few moments time and crosses the line to go. Pole position. 2 drivers into the 115s. That were Silly Guy and TF Davey. They are the only drivers to go into the 115s. And from there on out, it's Ismax from Bolin, George, Frankie, Dutch Missile, Leo, Anno, and Mika, your top 10. Behind them, it's Deso, Axe, Rohan, Fruitful, Ashbez, Laurie, Joey, and Steph. Joey has been disqualified and 15 points down from the lead of the championship now. Throws it all away, it seems, in this 5th race. And once again, raining down at the track. And we are getting ready in 15 seconds. Okay, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on. Lights are out and away we go. The Mercedes gets a bad start by the looks of things. The Alfa Romeo gets a perfect getaway into the lead. Go Silly Guy. The Williams Ismax is already on the outside of the Mercedes, but Davey gets a run on Silly Guy. And now still Silly Guy in the lead of the race. Davey in second position. Bolin in third. Wanted to make that move on Davey. Davey gets a bad run down towards the sector timing, and Davey stays in P2. Frankie on the inside of Bolin. Can he make the move work on the Ferrari? There was enough room for the Red Bull to stay in. And now, can he go around the outside? No, he can't. That's not... And that battle too soon? No. Frankie stays in P4. Ismax in P5. Oh, look at them all struggling here at Portimao. And Ismax going for the inside on Frankie. They make contact, but it is without any crashes. He now wants to go down the inside. Yes, he does on Frankie. Going down the inside and pushing him towards the outside. And takes that position from Frankie. But Frankie making his way down the inside. And once again, what can George do? Can he overtake them both? Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Frankie and the Williams. Frankie going off track. George having to take avoiding action. Oh, the Red Bulls both almost went for a spin on the main straight. Now battling each other down towards turn 1. Who will be emerging in P5? I think it will be George. Yes, it will be George. But Frankie hangs on around the outside. Oh, great move by Frankie into P5 as the AlphaTauri there of Joey. Great start from him, but has retired from... sorry, not retired, but has made a spin there at turn 2. And once again, the Red Bulls going for it down into the hairpin. On the inside is Frankie. Frankie and George once again side by side. George now emerging in P5 for sure. And stays in P5. P9 for Rohan. Rohan wants to score points. Fruitful in front of him. I don't think Fruitful has scored points so far as of yet. Bolin. Oh, Bolin! No! Bolin has made a mistake or made contact with the Williams. He has retired. Leading the championship along with Ismax. But now Ismax is going to take the lead of the championship unless Silly Guy takes it for himself. Bolin certainly won't score points here. Davey still really close behind Silly Guy. Remember that it is difficult to make a move here as Frankie and George. Oh, George is spun around. Not by making contact with Frankie, but making contact with that curb, as now Ono is down in 4th position. Frankie has been overtaken by the Alpine. Great move from Ono. And that was not a mistake from Frankie. It was the mistake of George going onto that curb. What occurred before that we didn't see on camera. Davey second behind the leader, Silly Guy, going for 2 wins in 2 races here. Axe moving his way past Laurie for P8. And I think by come the checkered flag, Silly Guy will lead the championship going into round 6 here. Joey and Ashbest for the final points being position are battling it out here on track. Can Ashbest make a move on Joey? Joey, after making that mistake, still fighting for points. Good to see the AlphaTauri driver climbing back up the grid. Had a lap invalidated in qualifying, as Ismax has the fastest lap of the race. Davey on the rear of Silly Guy, putting pressure on the Alfa Romeo. 4 out of 5 laps now. 1 lap left after this one. Silly Guy has to give everything to keep Davey at bay. Davey is a really fast driver, but hasn't gotten great results so far. So Davey accelerating out of the hairpin a bit. Low in the gears. Cost him 2 wheel spin. Ismax in 3rd position is 1.3 down from Davey, not being able to catch up to Davey in the Mercedes. Ono 3.5 down. Fruitful in a nice 6th position. Go on behind him in P7. Well, almost makes contact with the Ferrari, keeps it out of the gearbox. And almost both drivers going off track there. And it is a difficult circuit to keep your car on track, even on the black stuff, in the raining conditions. In the wet conditions, I think George once again makes a mistake. He's now in P13 and is certainly out of this race. Can't get any points anymore. Well, the final lap has settled in. And Davey is 1 second down from Silly Guy. Still, Silly Guy doesn't need to make a mistake. That will allow him to take the victory. Rohan gets a 2-second time penalty side by side with Fruitful. Rohan went down the inside on Fruitful. Oh, Fruitful forces Rohan out. And now can Rohan make his way around the outside of Fruitful? Don't think that can happen. Oh, and Rohan goes a bit wide. Wanted to make the switchback, but that was too wide for the Alfa Romeo driver. Can't make the move on Fruitful now, but gets a good run down towards this combination of corners. And remember, Axe is already on the back of the Alfa Romeo, which means that 2-second time penalty will be dearly for Rohan. It will cost him massively come the end of the race. Can Rohan now go for the inside on Fruitful? No, he can't. He will go down the inside. Wow, what a great move. Fruitful left him all the space to make that move. And that cost Fruitful P6 in this race on track. But can now Fruitful come back at Rohan? Yes, he can. Great racing from these former IFR drivers and now Talent Factory drivers. Great signings, in my opinion, for TF. Silly Guy finishes the race in P1 with Davey almost able to overtake Silly Guy. Ismax in P3, 2 attempts. That was very lucky. That's the only thing I can say there. Axe, with 36 thousandths of a second, gets P7. That was closer for Fruitful than he would have wanted to. Silly Guy once again victorious here in the 5 Leper event. That's 2 wins in a row for Silly Guy. That's 50 points already, only for his finishing positions, taking into account his fastest lap as well at Brazil. Davey with a podium finish as well in P2. Then it's Itzmax in P3. Ono in P4. Then it's Funky, Fruitful, Axe, Lori, Roam, Ashbest in P10. Joey in P11 just wasn't able to get that points paying position in the end. P12 for Judge Missile, P13 for George, P14 for Bolin, P15 Deso, 16 Leo, 17 Steph, Mika in P18. Those drivers in the bottom 6 have all DNF'd from the race. In the lead of the championship currently is Silly Guy. Ismax is 7 points down in P2. P3 is for Bolin, 1 point behind him. Is I couldn't see, but I think it was Bolin. China, round 6 here at TFL 5 Leopard Championship. And we are getting ready for the next one-shot qualifying here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Well, on board with Ashbest, haven't seen the best laps from him so far, but can he get a good result here in China? On board with the Williams. He's down in P16, P17 now, but George is on a flyer. He wants to get back at some drivers who have gained massive points on him during the last few races. Silly Guy once again on it here at China. Smells that 20 euro PSN card and wants to get it outright now. P1 momentarily, so provisional pole position for George or Silly Guy. Looks like it's going to one of them, but they'll have to finish their laps. Oh, George has been overtaken by Bolin on towards that massive straight. Fruitful has retired in P18, is out of the 5 Leper one-shot qualifying session. Bolin in P2 has had a DNF in the previous race, going a bit wide into the hairpin, so initially gaining a position, then losing a position once again to Silly Guy. Now that final corner, all important final corner, Bolin gets P1 at the checkered flag, with Silly Guy in P2. Is Itzmax in P3, your top 3. .34 thousandths of a second here in the end. P2 for Silly Guy, P3 is for Ismax. That was our top 3. Our next few drivers, P4 for Leo, P5 for Ron, good result from him. Davey in P6, 30 thousandths of a second in it, 15 thousandths behind Davey is Laurie. Then it's George with not so good qualifying session from him, 3 thousandths behind. Then 16 thousandths behind is Dutch Missile, and only 27 thousandths behind him is Mika. Now loading into the race. And as we get to close off the event, who do you think is going to take that victory here tonight? And the lights are out, and away we go. It's a good start from Silly Guy. Can he get the lead of the race? No, he can't. He goes to the outside immediately. And Bolin is in the lead of the race still. Silly Guy behind him. Ismax in 3rd position, and it is really close behind the top 3 as well. Leo really close behind Rohan. They are battling it now. The Alfa Romeo and the Haas driver. Haas dyno inside. He goes. Can he make the move stick on Rohan? Rohan gets a good exit out of that hairpin. And they are side by side. And oh no! That is Rohan. Rohan has spun around from a good position in qualifying. Has spun around here in the race. The Alpine and the AlphaTauri are also side by side coming through that corner combination. The Alpine off the road and has now rejoined the track in P10. And that was a moment or not for Laurie, who is now overtaken the McLaren as well. Davey is gaining on Leo. Leo has been overtaken by Davey. Joey has retired from the session down in P18. Not a good start from him. Steph in P17 has also retired. And the Haas driver is not happy with Davey. And Davey is shaking the rear of his Mercedes as well. So something occurred between these two drivers. And still Bolin in lead from Silly Guy, from Ismax, from Davey. There behind, it's Leo who's on the rear now of the Mercedes. Can he push a little bit down towards turn 1 behind them? It's almost 3 wide going into turn 1. Looking at Ono and Laurie, they are side by side, and Ono in the end takes P10. Oh, Ono making contact with Ashbest, and now is in P10 still. Under pressure from his teammate. P5 is for Leo. P6 for Dutch Missile. Oh, Silly Guy almost making that mistake. What can S-Max do? Coming into the next left-hander. Can he go for the move on Silly Guy? Silly Guy making that mistake leaves him vulnerable. It might not even give him DRS for the next lap if he doesn't get a move on and stays within that 1 second window of Bolin. He's in the lead of the race now, Bolin. Silly Guy in 2nd position. Can't make the move. Ismax really close behind him. Lets himself see to Silly Guy. Davey in P4, P5 for Leo. Ono and Ashbest once again are battling it out on track. Ono now ahead of the Williams driver. Bolin sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 second behind Silly Guy. Then is Ismax and Davey. And the important thing for Silly Guy is, can he get that DRS off of Bolin for the next lap? And we have confirmation that the stream will end after the Chinese Grand Prix. So after this 5 lap, the stream will end, unfortunately. And I don't think it will restart. Unfortunately, I have to go. So the stream will end after this race. Last 2 races might be able to be put on YouTube, so pay close attention to our YouTube channel in the coming days. And the final few laps, a Silly Guy makes a mistake, has been overtaken by Ismax. Can now Silly Guy make the move back on Ismax? No, he can't. Ismax, though, sets the fastest lap of the race and is within the DRS window of Bolin. The Silly Guy goes a bit wide. George makes a move on Dutch Missile. The Red Bull making up 1 more position. Silly Guy taking a wide line out of that combination at the start of the track. And Ismax is looking pretty racy here against Bolin. These 3 guys have been on it throughout the championship, throughout the event here today. Looks like one of them has a pretty good chance of taking the lead here. Four out of 5 laps have been completed almost. We are in the 4th lap and this Chinese Grand Prix is coming to a close here. Don't think Ismax is going to make a move here on Bolin. Bolin has saved up some ERS to use in just a few moments time in the final lap to use to defend against Ismax in the Williams. Williams really close to the Ferrari of Bolin. Don't think he's going to make the move. Still isn't. He's waiting for that final straight, just like we saw in Silverstone. And just like we saw in Bahrain. Leo and Davey battling it out. Leo, can he go towards the inside? He is now behind Davey for now, but Davey, yeah, he's now back into P4, down towards that hairpin they go. Can Leo go for the inside on Davey? No, he won't. He will try to go around the outside. Can't make that work. But a great run out of that hairpin for Leo. No, doesn't leave him with a chance of an overtake on Davey. Important, Davey does not have the DRS to use. So that gives a great opportunity to the house of Leo. Let's go on board though with Ismax for the lead of the race. I think Ismax is going to push all the ERS that he has. I think Bolin is doing the same thing. Yes, he is. Looking on the rear view mirror of Bolin, looking at Ismax, trying to take all the slipstream that he can. He opens that DRS. Can he go for the move here into the hairpin? No, he won't. Bolin saved up as much ERS as he could, and that was just enough to take him into the lead of the race and let him stay in that lead of the race. But Bolin now comes across the finish line to win here in China. Ismax in P2, Silly Guy in P3. that is the race here at China. We're going to take a look at the championship standings in just a few moments' time. And to all our viewers, thank you for watching the stream. Unfortunately, we'll have to end the stream prematurely. Hopefully the same thing won't happen next week. But thank you for watching. We have to wait an exit for crossing the finish line. And we will take a look at the standings for now. Ash Bass, driver of the day, was driver here at the Chinese Grand Prix. And taking a look at the standings, it's very unfortunate that I have to leave now, but it is Ismax in P1. Silly Guy lost his lead in the championship, 1 point between them. Then it's Bolin, George, Davey in P5, Frankie in P6. From then it's Joey, Leo, Ono, and Laurie. Thank you all for watching the stream. Hopefully the final few moments of the championship will be uploaded to the channel later. But I thank you all for watching, and hopefully see you again in a stream of TF. See you next time.